Well, hello there. Some of you may have heard of me. In some circles, I am known as the curling captain. In others, I am known as Mr. Broxah. Now, I have been a professional League of Legends player for almost 6 years. Yeah, that's right. That's a pretty long time. I've been a jungle main for around 10 years. Therefore, I have gathered a tiny bit of knowledge about the role. And I don't do this too often, but I've done coaching sessions a few times before. And just a few days ago, a great friend of mine, I know him as the best Rakan in the world, the literal hero of Europe, the guy who's gonna help us win a world championship one day. Some of you may know him as Medic, absolutely lovely and amazing LEC caster. Now, normally Medic is a support main, but he started jungling. And he has an account where he exclusively plays jungle and he tries to climb as high as he can. Medic, just like all of us, doesn't start at the very top, but he's working on getting there. He's currently in Platinum 4. And today, I will help Medic and I will teach him the ways of jungle. I will learn him everything that's worth knowing about our role, so that soon enough, he can Q-snipe me in my own games. In fact, he can outclimb me in solo queue and he can get to rank 1 even before I do. So we got a lot of work to do, to say the least. This is probably going to be a longer session, but I can promise you, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be worth your time. So buckle up, get a drink ready, and I hope that your brain is ready too, because there's about to be a lot of information to digest. Your brain might be fried at the end of this, but it's going to be good. So let's get into it. It's coaching time. So the first thing we're going to be talking about before we start the replay is your runes.
Okay.
Because obviously before any game starts, the runes are, that's the first decision that needs to be made.
I feel like I'm a kid in school, man. I'm gonna get flamed by my teacher. I'm so nervous that you're gonna ask me a question. I'm not gonna know how to answer it.
You don't have to be nervous. There's no right or wrong. It's like, the way I see it, even let's say I was a teacher in school, I don't mind a student who has wrong answers. What I would mind are the students who simply don't care at all and don't try to improve. But the reason we're even here to begin with is that you're trying to improve, right?
That is true.
So in that sense, you can't really do anything wrong. Like, there's no wrong answers.
Okay.
So first of all, runes. Why did you decide to go for these runes? What is the thought process behind it? There's no right or wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong. Just explain.
I get you. So I like fleet into matchups where I think I might skirmish with the enemy jungler over Dark Harvest, because it means that I can sustain a little bit more when I'm trying to fight up against something like the Trundle here. Also, they have quite a lot of burst, so I like the sustain there as well. Alongside that, what else did I take? I took Triumph for fighting, I took Legend Alacrity for the attack speed, and I took Cut Down, I think. Was it Cut Down? Oh, music's annoying.
No, you went Coop. I sent you a screenshot of your runes on Discord if you need to.
Yeah, I went Coup de Grace because, assassinating people is fun. Killing people. Especially with ult, because the execute is quite nice. It means I don't have to stand near anyone to execute them. I think Legend Tenacity might have been okay in this game as well, just to try and avoid the Leona stuns. But I can't remember what boots I went. Maybe I went Merc Treads in this game. And then I go Magical Footwear. And that's the one I'm not really that sure about. Because Magical Footwear I kind of like, but also it takes quite a long time to get online. And the extra movement speed when you get them is nice, but if you don't get anything early game, it takes a long time before you get your boots, which is annoying. Yeah. And I took Cosmic Insight as well for the cooldowns. Then attack speed, 1 adaptive, I think, and health. It's just like my general, I want to get through the jungle sort of, gives me a bit of extra damage, extra attack speed's nice, and then the health is good because it makes me tankier, and you don't really need extra armor. I could have gone magic resist, I guess, into Victor Akali, but yeah. That one I didn't think about as much, I'll be honest.
Okay. So I think everything you're saying makes sense. I can also share with you that in pro play, it's a little bit different what people prefer on Graves. we just had play-ins at Worlds. These runes that you're having right now, these exact runes were picked by both Elyoya and Razork.
I'm a genius, what can I say? You know?
Yeah, so very well done. Does that mean that I think the ideal? Well, that depends. So I have a question for you. What are you going to build this game? Like, do you have a favorite build on Graves?
So I do, and it's the Umbral Glaive Eclipse build. I just tried a Gore Drinker game, and I really struggle with Gore Drinker. But I think into more tanks, Gore Drinker makes more sense. Like Gore Drinker, Black Cleaver, and you try and like shred more than like burst. But my favorite build is 100% the Umbral Glaive into Eclipse into what do I build third? I can't remember it off the top of my head, but then I get Infinity Edge. Oh, Collector. Sometimes I get Collector, Lord Dom's Infinity Edge, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. So, for Umbral Glaive, like I think the build is good. It's pretty standard. You mentioned the 2 routes on Graves. You always go Umbral Glaive because it's just a very powerful item. It's been for a long time. Then you can go Eclipse, and you can go like more bursty, or you can go for the Gore Drinker route with like Ghost, where you're more of a bruiser. But personally,
you go Gore Drinker?
Usually, well, not necessarily. It's kind of a preference thing, but it can be nice with Ghost because you can kind of compare. It might not be the best comparison, but let's compare Gore Drinker Graves with Ghost to a Hecarim.
Okay, sure.
You're still like an 80 carry, but you're gonna be a pretty tanky one. And you're kind of going to play in their faces, you're going to play aggressively, because with your passive you're going to get a lot of armor, and then you can heal back up with Gore Drinker. After you heal with Gore Drinker, you can start kiting out a bit again. So it's a little more similar to Hecarim. Sort of. Yeah, something like that, rather than a traditional AD carry. But anyways, for the runes, you can go for these secondary runes. Personally, I really like going for Zombie Ward and Treasure Hunter with Umbral Glaive. In my mind, Umbral Glaive Zombie Ward has always kind of been... It's like a combo in a way, because they just function so well together that you're gonna keep finding wards everywhere. Every time you kill a ward, you get to place a Zombie Ward, you get it stacked up to 10 really easily, so you get the stats, and then you're gonna have like so much value from all the vision. It's not like Magical Footwear and Cosmic Insight is bad. I just think when you go Umbral Glaive in particular, I would personally prefer seeing the Zombie Ward and Treasure Hunter, because I think the value from that is really big.
I've been debating what I wanted for my secondary tree, so that's a nice little change to make. Because I think the Magical Footwear is great, but if you get it late, it really screws actually being able to get to ganks on time and such.
Yeah, it can be make the early game a bit different, and also for solo queue, like in pro play, I think you can get away with getting boots really late a bit easier because the games are like slower, especially with Graves. But in solo queue, like you're saying, having boots early can actually make a big difference because things are crazy, and it's important to be on time. So we talked about the runes. Now I'm gonna roll the replay. No, actually, before I do that, we need to talk about matchups. Can you tell me what your plan is going into this game when you look at your jungle matchup, when you look at the lanes? And it doesn't have to be like super specific, but just what are you thinking of doing in first clear and why?
So I don't really want to go bot lane for first gank because Tristana's relatively safe and we only have like Nasus and no real CC there. I'm thinking I want to start red. I'd probably go red, Krugs, Razorbeaks, maybe look mid. If mid's pushed in, then I'd go for a mid lane gank. At least I can get his flash out. And then I'll go top side. Akali is a little tricky to gank, but she has no flash, and obviously you have a Sejuani there for CC as well. Trundle, I think, has a faster first clear than me, so if I don't find either a mid gank, I'm probably just going to full clear, and then it depends if Trundle starts top side or bot side, because I could full clear into bot crab if Trundle starts bot side, so that I avoid matching up with him, because I don't think I win a first skirmish against Lethal Temple Trundle.
So for the skirmishing, I agree that the skirmish early on can be a bit tricky, but in terms of clear, one of the advantages you have over Trundle is actually the clear speed.
Okay.
Because Trundle struggles clearing both Raptors and Crocs, which...
Oh yeah, because no AoE, right?
Yeah, so you're not gonna feel it like that much on the first clear, but Trundle's rarely full clear to begin with. And I think your pathing is smart. Like you said, you have Nasus support, you cannot gank for bot lane. You have Syndra mid, maybe you have an opening on Victor, enemy top has no flash, and then you can full clear, meaning that already from first clear you're probably gonna get a 1 camp advantage because Trundle is gonna skip his Crocs very likely.
And this is where we watch me mechanically clear so poorly that I fall behind in the jungle. That's what I'm expecting.
Now the fun begins. So we're gonna click on the graves and we're gonna see your amazing jungle skills.
So I tend to take sweeper first. I see pros do this a lot. I don't think it actually matters that much at like plat level. Just so that I can... I mean, I usually go ward into sweeper, and I could have gone and warded his razor beaks or something here to actually track him. But often I die if I go for the early ward.
So I think if you're worried about that, you should just... like, you can always ward defensively. So sometimes I walk up and I ward like enemy raptors or red if I feel like I'm safe enough. But otherwise you can just ward like here. Yeah. Just put some defensive vision, because it's not always that it's necessary. But... if you put it, like let's say you base at 50 seconds, so like around 50 you put the ward, you buy sweeper and then you walk out. A ward around here could actually end up saving your mid laner. Plus, if they late invade or do something random, it gives you info. Plus, you still have the sweeper. So it's a bit more efficient than buying it right away.
And it's better than alt-tabbing and checking Twitter or something, you know?
Yeah. You started Q on Graves.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I messed this up. I meant to start E, but for some reason I started Q. I know E start is the right way to start.
Cool.
Because I did. I at this point I have it. I was like, oh, my clear is going to be awful. We're not awful, just not that good.
Well, it's fine. Okay, something is happening over here. Yeah. I'm trying not to get distracted by that. Well, your Nasus was actually nice to you. You put a nice little ward over there. So let's see. We can talk about this. We don't want to talk too much about the specifics, but obviously when you play Grave, you have AoE damage. This is beautiful. You hit both at the same time, and this is the hardest part about Graves.
Yeah, actually positioning.
So you always have to try to position yourself in a way where, you know, in this case one of the Crocs doesn't block, so you get to hit both at the same time. So like here you either have to stay on the right side where there's an angle you can hit both of them, or you just move a bit to the left so you can keep targeting both at the same time. Because here the little Croc just keeps blocking, and that makes it a little bit inefficient. And here it's the same thing. You just only get single target attacks, which isn't ideal, but again, it's
I get the small ones though. I got them both, you know, God Gamer.
Oh, for sure. Amazing. It's really tricky to do it on the Raptors. I think the Raptors you cleared better than Crocs though, so you already improved. Very nice. I'm
just smiting on CD when I'm playing Graves, like for the first clear.
I was just when did you use your first smite on red buff? Right?
On Crocs.
On Crocs, okay. I would usually smite red actually. It's a good thing you brought it up. So usually I would smite red here. It's not always best to smite level 1, but in this case it's 142, your Crocs are already spawned. So if you just, you know, auto one lot, like you always regardless want to drag it down. So you drag it down here, you smite when it's below 450, so you get your level 2 earlier, and then you have level 2, so you have an extra ability, and doing the next camp is going to be faster. Like, it's just a bit more efficient. So, just something generally to think about. I usually always smite the first buff if I, like if it helps me get to the other camp faster. You don't always need to, especially when getting leash, but yeah.
Yeah, if I had a bigger leash, then I wouldn't have had to. That makes sense.
But I think the bigger deal is your second smite. Because smiting here is a little bit awkward. Now in this case you know that Trundle is bot side because you had a ward that your Nasus support placed. But there's a world where you need it. Now because you know Trundle is bot side, you saw him on the ward, you know his pathing, you should always do Grump before moving to the crab. Because if you do that, that makes your second clear more natural in the sense that, like let's say here, if there's no gank opportunity mid or top, which there probably won't be because you're playing a farming jungler, so it's hard to force ganks. You're gonna do crap, you do crocs, and then you base. After base, assuming there's no free gank anywhere, you do crocs, raptors, wolves, but then there's a chance your grump hasn't spawned yet.
So, yeah, okay.
So it's pretty important to do grump first when you're sure that you get top crap anyways, because then everything, you know, just spawns in a nice way on your second clear, and it feels more natural.
Yeah, the 4-man mid gank at minute 4 wasn't really something I was expecting in this game, I'll be honest. It was a little bit of a tough one. So here I look top because the Sedges just died.
Yeah, so this is gonna give us a little something to talk about. So you finish grump, you start basing, you see that action is happening top, you stop your base, you start moving. How high do you think your chance of killing this Akali is?
I mean, so my hope was, and this was more like a mind thing, I think Akali's going to try and shove this lane out, right? To make sure the cannon gets into the tower by the time Sejuani's there. So I was like, I can sneak into this bush, Akali keeps pushing, and then I catch her out, right?
Yeah.
Because I have Sweeper as well. I don't even use Sweeper. So
then I would want you to at very least use Sweeper, because then the second you see this ward, you can base right away.
Yeah. Except that's my ward, so...
Wait, you're right, I'm trolling. She actually doesn't have ward. Well, anyways, you should use Sweeper to know. You should use Sweeper just to know. Either way, my point was going to be, I get the logic, but you are Graves. You don't really have much gank setup. We are at 4:15. We saw Trundle moving topside after he ganked mid. So not only is it near impossible for you to kill this Akali unless she like really, really overextends. But there's a chance you're gonna die if Trundle moves early.
Yeah.
So the cases like these can be a bit tricky, but I think as a general rule of thumb, when it comes to early ganks, if you think there's an 75-80% chance of getting a kill, you can go for it. But if you're unsure, just base and be efficient, because that alone is going to give you a big gold lead. Because now...
I do use Sweeper just a bit later than I should have done. Okay.
Yeah, you did. But yeah, now your base came like 30 seconds later than it would have. Otherwise, you could already be... You know, your crocs could already have been almost down. So,
yeah,
just something to think about.
I appreciate that. My chat is just spamming noted over and over again. Like, noted, noted. Yes, we're writing this down. Writing this down.
Yeah. Everyone better have their notebook prepared.
I smite. Yeah, I shouldn't smite early here. As soon as I see the enemy team nearby, I should be smiting.
Well, my point here was also going to be that I don't think you should even move here to begin with, because you don't really know where people are. Like, you don't see Trundle, you don't see Leona, and no matter what you do, if there are 4 people mid, like, you know your bot lane is not moving, so you know you're outnumbered and you can't do anything mid. So you moving here doesn't achieve anything, and when you see them making this play mid, you should think, I need to get my raptors fast before they come for me. So you have to get this camp quickly. With you showing here, there's a chance they can walk in, which they do, as you mentioned. You smite too early. Did get out, but yeah, here, like, no reason to go here because you're just outnumbered. Your bot is freezing, so the longer these guys stay, they lose something anyway. So just get your raptors, keep farming. Trundle is not going to get anything, so while he's wasting time, you can create a gold lead.
But now, because I stayed, I have to back, which delays my...
Yeah, so right now, at this time, you could already have done wolves, grump, crap. You're gonna see Drake dying in a second, so if you didn't know already that they're doing it, which you should know, because they've been missing for so long. Yeah. Like, you could just do their red buff on spawn, you can check their crocs. Like, you can get a big lead here.
Camp spawning? Alright, so there I should have done grump. Actually, I look mid. I skip grump because I think I'm looking mid, and we get his flash out. But I don't know if it's like the right time.
We don't care about this guy's flash. We care about you getting ahead, because Trundle has been wandering around, trying to do aggressive plays for a long time. So you should always do your grump, unless you're like taking his camps and doing it later. Like that's the only way you can justify skipping it. So always put your camps on cooldown, cycle them, and again, this is not an 80% chance of a kill. It's like an 80% chance of a flash, but we don't care about flashes. That's not how we get ahead and carry the game. So
especially when I do that. Yeah.
We get his flash, but again, here you could have taken his entire top side. You could have based. You could have cleared your entire bot side, and you would have been probably 30 CS ahead at least.
No, I don't check that bush as well. I think I check it later, but I should have checked it earlier.
Yeah, this is just a habit.
Yeah, it's a micro thing, but it's just like, yeah.
So always check bushes when you're in your jungle, especially after they've been like aggressively in there. It's a tricky one. No one saw the Q, don't worry.
Yep, no one saw it. It's fine. It's fine.
Just sitting in 800 gold, looking for the mid gang. I like it. You know his flash is down, so you go for the return. Beautiful. Now we're gonna get our Umbral Glaive soon, then we're gonna be very powerful. How much do you usually value Herald when you play?
I'm a Herald gamer over a Dragon gamer. I'd rather take Herald and try and take first tower than take first Dragon. Okay, and here my pathing's bad, because I think I path down for Krugs, and I'm like, actually, do I care that much about Krugs?
And then you move towards Herald.
Yeah. But I might be wrong. I might just go that way around. Yep, no,
you found the ward, Umbral Glaive, nice.
Yep, God gamer, man.
Well, what I mean, what you said there is exactly what you should have done. Herald is up, just go up there. You're very strong right now. So is Trundle, but Herald is really what it comes down to. I guess there's a world where you can justify like clearing your camps up first, but there's a pretty legitimate chance that Trundle is gonna get it here. In this case, he even moved bot side, which you couldn't have known. But he moved bot side instead, so you could actually have gotten Herald for free. That's kind of a hindsight thing, but yeah. So anyways, you and Trundle are both here.
Oh, yeah, it's my god tier play. I remember why I included this now.
Okay, I think we go back a little. It's your god tier play, let's see.
Well, I say god tier, they literally dive me for no reason, and I get 3 kills, which is...
I'm not entirely sure about this...
So my thought is, we see a Kali come down, and I'm like, I should help defend. And in a 3v4, we can take this fight, right?
Yeah, so I think your decision making here is great. Like, once you're already bot side, you commit to that, you see Trundle, you match him, you keep your bot lane safe. I like it. Like, you don't have a choice at this point. And yeah, this is good.
Smoke screen the Tristana to make sure she can't see me. Yeah.
They made a mistake, and you were there to punish them. Good job.
Yeah. This is challenger level gameplay as well. I'm sure you see this all the time in your challenger games.
You'd be surprised how often I see dives like that. You actually bought 2 pink wards. That's very solid.
I'm such a support. Like every time, if I have less than 800 gold, 2 pink wards, 2 pink wards, 2 pink wards, 2 pink wards.
This is one of those rare cases where I would tell you that I think you should probably just abort 1. But you know, I can't really blame you for taking 2. Okay, so. Let's just move back a little bit. What are you thinking about here? What is your plan?
Yeah, so my thought process is I want to keep clearing camps, right? So I think I want to go top lane because I'm like, well, top side, sorry, because Gromp and Wolves are up, right?
Yeah.
So I want to get those down, but then I see my red buff spawning and I know second dragon's up as well. So I think, well, I can take Razorbeaks, push forward for a little bit of vision because I'm really strong, take my red buff and fight over dragon.
Yeah.
But I'm never sure what to do because, as you said, like farming is better than like not farming. And if I go bot side, there's less for me to farm. Whereas if I go top side, I get 2 camps and I only get 1 on bot side, right?
So the way that I would look at it is that if you think they're gonna do Drake right now, you want to move to Drake because you are the strongest person on your team. You guys are stronger bot side. Their lead is on Akali, so a 4v4 you shouldn't be able to lose. The only win con is to one-shot you. So if you think they're gonna rush Drake right now, you have to move to Drake. If you think they don't want to do Drake before in 45 seconds, you can clear down. This is one of those cases where it's like you can't really know for sure. And if you're unsure, I think it's fine to move to Drake. But I don't want to see you just wandering around doing nothing there at the moment. I want to see you being proactive. So if you move here, it is to force Drake yourself. In a normal case, your AD carry would be sitting bot lane right now, and you could just play to get mid and bot pushed in, and you can do Drake right away. After Drake is up, you can clear your entire... Or after you clear Drake, you can clear your entire jungle. Because your AD carry is mid, it might get a little bit more awkward with Tristana getting the bot push. But either way, like getting Drake as soon as possible is gonna be the goal here, so you don't waste time.
We see Akali TP top, and then I'm like, okay, we can fight, we can force Drake a little bit more because we have TP advantage. Should I have seen Akali TP top, go Gromp Razorbeak, Gromp Wolves, and then come bot side? Because I know they're not going to be able to answer like Syndra, Twitch, Nasus if they pressure.
So I think what I would have done right here, or generally how you want to approach these situations as a jungler, is that you want to create... Because right now, like, you have mid prio, they have bot prio. Yep. So you need to create prio in one lane, and you need to use that prio to help the other lane push. And then when you have river control and both lanes are pushing, then you can get Drake. So right here, these guys are stacked. Down here, this is not going to be the time for you to clear, but because of how the map works, if you sit next to Syndra right now, you can just like hover next to her, you have a sweeper, like you sweep this bush. If Victor walks up, you kill him. If not, Syndra pushes for free. You move down river, and then you can help your bot lane push out. If they fight you in river, Victor is stuck catching his wave on the turret, while Syndra is with you, and you're going to be 4 versus 3 and you kill them. Yeah, just hover for Syndra. Make sure she's able to follow you. Also, if you're around, Victor is not going to clear this wave this quickly. It's just not going to happen. So now Syndra joins you pretty late because she couldn't play as aggressively. And they're gonna come around the same time. You play the fight well, still kill all 3 of them, so it did work out.
But I could have made it a lot easier for us by just bringing the Syndra down earlier.
Well, there's always a chance that when they engage, you know, someone dies because it starts out being a 3v3 and something goes wrong, right? So yeah, like you said, just gotta increase the chances.
Yeah. I think here I'll probably recall and then head top side because I probably got a bit of gold from the thing. Oh, I'll look for a bot gank apparently.
Looks like it. Oh.
Great gank.
You obviously know the power of a fellow support, the Nasus support slow. They can't move. You come in, get the kill. Very nice.
Twitch got really mad at me for taking that kill. He's like, why would you KS me like that? I can't believe it.
That's fine. Us junglers are the real carries. We don't care about AD carry players' egos. Don't you worry. Well done. Take all the kills you want. So, I like that you based right away. Moving to your top side, so you keep cycling your camps. And right now, usually, when you have this many camps up and you come out of the base, you should just try to clear your camps first, especially with a farming jungler, because you can clear your camps much faster than Trundle, and then after you have plenty of time to fight.
I think I see Leona here and think I can react.
Yeah, so you see them making plates up, you move towards him.
I'm not going to say it was totally int, but this was definitely totally int. Because as soon as Sedge dies, I should just not be looking to like snipe the Akali or something.
So, when I was on Fnatic actually, we had a term that we would use, which was literally called, like we were sitting at Worlds and we were calling this in our comms. When someone got called, or got caught, the rest of us would yell, "Dip the Inder! Dip him!" Like, just dip it, get away from there, just let him die. Because we all have a tendency to, when we see someone in trouble, we want to run there and we want to help this person. But what usually happens is that everyone else comes in, and because it's a losing fight, we just die with them. So instead of giving them a little bit of gold, but then creating an advantage on the other side, in this case, doing your Raptors, doing bot crap, getting full control bot side, maybe you could help your AD carry, like push out bot, and then you can rotate to mid, whatever. You just end up dying with him. So dip the Inder, let's say Gianni run it down, but don't be part of the play.
Imagine if I had killed the Akali, you know?
Then that would be Akali being...
Yeah, really bad.
Yeah, it would be her being really bad rather than you making a good play. Because she should never die here. Like, it is solo queue. people often make big mistakes, like don't get me wrong, but yeah. You die, you get your second item. You're very, very strong right now. Again, worth noting, we should have been ahead right now. Like, just objectively, in this jungle matchup, Trundle is an early ganker, he doesn't have the greatest clear. We forgot to prioritize camps, we got baited too much into fighting. So we don't have the lead that we should, but we're still scaling, so it's still not the end of the world, of course. Do you have any questions up until this point? Anything you think is important that we haven't touched on?
No, I think the big thing is just making sure I do my camps like on spawn. I think I always look to like help out my teams. It's partly being a support main, right? But I'm always looking for these ganks rather than just being like, oh, I could just do a camp. I could just do another camp. Here I went for this fight because I knew I'm really strong. Like Eclipse Umbral, I thought I could take him 1v1.
Yeah,
but maybe I should have just been doing Krugs, you know?
I think this was fine. If you knew he had no flash, it was fine. Did you know that?
I'm gonna say yes. Maybe I didn't, but I'm pretty sure I did. You know.
Okay.
Like,
we are gonna assume you knew he had flash. In which case, you knew there was a good chance you could actually kill him. And obviously, because you killed him, you got to push out. Your team gets the turret. You can now do Herald. You should be helping your top laner doing Herald here because she's kind of struggling for her life.
I think I do after I see the ping. So I think I didn't notice her at the time. Yeah, see now I do.
Just in general, like for Herald buff should like 90% of the time go to the jungler. She actually walked in and stole it from you. I have no idea why. It's just always better on the jungler because she's just going to be stuck in one lane and you can like rotate all over the map exactly, so you're usually going to be able to find a better timing. Now, Drake is up. That's going to be the next objective. Your Sejuani still doesn't seem like much of a team player because she TPs away from the fight. Tristana is there, so it's still a 4v4 when Victor and Nasus arrive. What are you thinking about before this fight? Like, how do you think you should approach the fight to carry?
See, I probably wasn't thinking about how I should approach the carry. I'm probably thinking, okay, they're probably starting Dragon. I need to go in pressure. I'm looking at mid being like, okay, Syndra's with me. And then thinking about how I avoid dying immediately. So I'm like, okay, I need to dodge Leona ult. I have to try and get in Trundle's face, but I can't be too close to him. But I'm also thinking that I'm really strong. I don't know if I knew Akali was there or if I've been tracking the Akali. But yeah, I'm less thinking about how to like win the fight and more thinking about how to survive the fight, which might mean that I need a mentality shift a little bit.
So you told me that you were not thinking about the fight, but then you also told me that you were thinking about how strong you are and that you should dodge Leona CC and whatnot. So
I mean, but that's more like I'm not thinking about how do I win this fight. In my head is different to, okay, I want to fight, but how do I not die? You know?
But what you're saying is literally how you don't die, aka how you win the fight.
I mean, I guess that's true, yeah.
Because it is true, if you get CC locked by Leona, with Akali, Trundle, Victor, they can actually burst you and kill you. But if you don't die right away to the initial engage, you are so strong that you can carry, but you just have to avoid being bursted down. So, in that sense, I think you are thinking about the right things, and I think, in general, just as a habit for, like, no matter what role you play, no matter what game stage you're in, right before a fight, press tab, look at the items, see the power spike, see what could potentially make the fight difficult for you, and just try to, like, picture in your head how the fight is going to play out and, you know, what could go wrong, which is what you did, so that's good. Okay. Of course, we'll
see if
here,
I actually enact that now. But
of course, here, we just need to buy time, because Twitch and Nasus, especially Nasus, are going to be slowpokes, so we just have to buy time for them.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think I pinged to give because I know Sejuani is just TP top. So I'm pretty sure I ping back.
Yeah, I see back pings.
And I'm like, second, like, it's not worth us taking this when we don't know where Tristana is, because it could be 5v4. So I'm like, just go away. I'll go back to farming. We're going to get top tower. It's only second dragon of the game. It's not the end of the world if we lose this, right?
Yeah. Beautiful. Like,
I think my team still takes the fight and wins it, but My thought process was let's not fight this.
So right there, you ping them back. Sejuani drops Herald top, and she's gonna get a lot top lane. I think you made the right call. If your team wants to die right now, you dip the Indus and you let them run it down. Unless you look at it and you're like, okay, I'm gonna kill everyone if I come. But again, if it's a low chance of the fight being winning, which it probably would be, because then they're literally walking in 3 versus 5, like you just farm up, because there's only so much we can do. We can make the right macro calls, but unfortunately, even though it seems like in preseason we are gonna get like all the tools for jungle to like for Riot to tell us how to jungle, they still haven't created a tool to mind control our teammates to make the right decisions.
If only, man.
So here you see this guy going in, like this guy clearly doesn't want to win the game, so you just leave him. You farm your Crocs, you farm your Raptors. Right here, what I would think about is that Drake is already gone. I've decided to give it up. We're getting an advantage top. I guess Tristana is gonna show top in a little bit, but you can't win anyways because this guy is just dead. Like, now it's just over. So I would be thinking about how I can get an advantage. Like, what can I get? So in this case, it could be doing Crocs, Raptors, and then playing for the red buff, because the red is spawning soon. Your Sejuani is really fit, and she's going to be pressuring top, so you could kind of meet up with her in that top river, and maybe you can get a pick there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so Akali tries to join the fight. I just boss Kona away. They all go away. I think I just... Oh, we look for the Akali here. That was greedy.
Yeah, so I think it... I mean, even this is fine. You didn't necessarily have to chase Akali, but it's not the end of the world. You did get to take one camp away. But if you had done it the other way, if you had done Raptors, like, you could have gotten more. Because you could have gotten Raptors, red, and you would be close to top lane. So maybe you would have gotten a pick on Victor, or you could have helped your Sejuani so she didn't die, or whatever, right? Yeah. Whereas getting Grump wasn't, you know... It was kind of random, like you didn't really plan it.
Yeah, it was fortunate, right? So I think I'll do razors into top side here.
Yeah, so now Baron is spawning. We gotta clear our camps first of all before we move on. We're slowly building a little CS lead on Trundle, which is good. I think in general that's one of the easiest ways to get elo in solo queue. Like, a lot of junglers just don't farm, especially in lower elos. They just wander around trying to gank. So if you just do a quick full clear, not always, because, you know, you also sometimes need to counter gank and all, but if you clear efficiently before looking for your place, you're just always gonna get ahead.
Makes sense.
So right now these guys are first. They pushed out Syndra. Syndra might even get chased. I think she's fine though. So now our goal is to get control of this Baron area. We want to control the Baron, because then we can start, you know, yeah, just setting up pinks everywhere. We can likely get picks and whatnot. You are a very aggressive Graves.
Okay.
Just like how you thought about it.
Code for your inting. It's good code.
I'm just gonna call you an aggressive Graves. So, just like how you thought of how you could die or what could go wrong going into the Drake fight, you need to think about the same thing right now. What is the plan? What do you want to do? And what do you need to be mindful about?
So I think I should be aware, right, that Dragon's just fallen. We know their team is topside. I'm looking to chunk out Akali so that they can't gain total control of topside. Also, I'm probably thinking, oh, there's no camps up, I should take a fight, right? There's nothing for me to farm right now. This is like probably what's happening in my brain. Nothing for me to farm right now. I'm pretty strong. I should take a fight versus someone. I'm not saying this is the ideal fight, especially since we have no vision in the Baron.
So
like, it's not a good fight at all, right?
What that tells me is that you're like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna go attack someone and hope for the best.
Yep. But I probably looked at Akali's items and was like, I'm stronger than her, you know? I'm giving myself that benefit of the doubt. But yes, 100%, I just said, I'm bored, I want to hit someone with my shotgun.
Yeah, I'm not really gonna buy the I'm stronger than her thing, because this is not about you and her. Like, there's 5 people topside. I think what you should do here, seeing that all these people are topside, is play for the mid pro. Because you, Twitch, and Nasus are actually really strong if you go together. And as Graves, one of the advantages we have that our laners hate us for, but you know, I call it an advantage, is that you can just walk in mid and you just queue that wave and the wave is gone. Then you can slowly start playing for the river. These guys are either going to walk safe way to defend mid. They're probably going to send someone in to defend the turret while someone is defending. You get river control. If they take a fight, everyone should be able to fight with you, and they're going to have whoever is catching mid be late. The only thing to be mindful of is that Syndra can actually join too. But it's just always looking at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture right now can be playing for mid turret, playing for bot turret, or playing for Baron Vision.
Okay. Or, you know, killing a Kali.
Also, also worth noting that for Graves in particular, you get countered by these AP burst mages like Kali, Syndra, LeBlanc, Zoe. He's really good into AD champs because of his passive. Like, you just stack up the armor.
Trigger or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. It stacks up big time, but all these champs just destroy you. And sure, the Zakali only has 1 item, and we can argue whether it's fair that she can just walk in and own you when you have 3k more gold.
That's awesome.
But she does counter you. So even though you actually, like, she's just walking in somewhat 1v3, that might be a big tool on top of you, but still. And she does trade, but that's just a Akali, or rather Graves versus the burst champs things.
Yeah, okay.
So, not the greatest macro call here. It works out okay because...
Pretty bad macro call.
Yeah, we can call it that, sure.
An aggressive macro call.
A suboptimal macro call, yes.
Yeah. I've been watching too much Mad Lions, apparently.
That doesn't seem to be a good thing nowadays. At least you're not going up against NA, maybe you'll be fine. Okay, maybe that was too soon. Maybe that was too soon. Anyways, so... Let's see, your Twitch is getting caught, everything is a little bit crazy after the random fight. And now we just need to stabilize the map. Twitch gets caught, and we're just gonna make sure they can't do Baron. So, you walk in with Sejuani. So far so good. You kite back. Leona walks forward, you keep hitting her. I like how you play this with Sejuani. You're just standing behind your front line, and they just can't reach you at all. What are you thinking about here?
So I'm probably thinking I can go and steal away a camp or something.
Okay.
I think I'll go to his Razor Beaks, take them away because I know Trundle was dead, and then I'll reset and go bot side, or just run bot side. Or if I see a fight happening, run towards it because, you know, blood in the water, etc. Take another camp.
If I was you, I would not want to fight right now. You have 1800 gold. Yeah. So I would want my IE before the next fight, ideally. Because I know when I finish IE...
I think this is Collector.
This is Collector. Yeah, it's not IE. I'm trolling. I mean, yeah, hopefully it's not IE.
Would you go IE? You wouldn't go IE here.
No, it's your only crit item. I'm just trolling. But that doesn't... It's the point stance. You have a lot of gold. I don't know why it's at IE. You want to pace, you want to get Collector, and then... I mean, you can even get the Collector, and you can get the Last Whisper, right? So you're just gonna one-shot everyone. So the point still stands. You have a lot of gold, so it's better to just reset. Also, because if you reset earlier, you're sure that we get Drake. Now, in this case, our bot lane did it randomly, but often we as the jungler have to make sure that Drake is actually ours. You let the AD carry know who's the boss, you take the red buff because you're 2 levels up on him. Respectable choice. Well. Yeah, I would say the only risk to doing this is that while you are stronger than him, you have to keep in mind that it's a certain risk you're running here. Because sometimes when we take a buff, especially when the carry is already hitting them, I'm talking from experience. There's a legitimate chance that this guy is on the way to just run it down and lose the game for you. Just purely because you took the red. So, while I think you having red is better because you're stronger than him, just make sure that you're willing to potentially lose the game off of it.
Yeah, red buff is worth the game. You know, teaching AD carries a lesson is worth the game.
I agree. I would have done the same. It's just something to be mindful of. He did die. Not on purpose, but it wasn't on purpose, but he did die. You help your Sejuani get out of there. I don't like the fight, but I think it's a good thing you save her. You get the wave. You play for the. You didn't play for the Raptors. I mean, you could have, but you're worried because you don't have vision, which I think is fine. So right now we're in a little bit of a slower phase where there's not too much to play for. 26 minutes. This is where a lot of teams will just randomly start hitting Baron. I think it's good that you don't. I think if you want to do Baron, you can get your team to come mid with you, push out mid and get like more pings around it. But the safe play is to play for this bot tier 2. So right now you see Sejuani is pushing top.
Which is what she's done the entire game. Why would she ever go to any other lane?
Which is why I was about to say that there's no certainty that she's going to help you bot side, but the good play would be that she pushes out top, and then you can just get this, because when someone catches top, Sejuani can either just shift down and start being mid while you rotate, or she can even TP in. But whichever way, you can play for this. So let's see what happens. For some reason you're the mid laner while your bot lane is on random missions. They get a pick though, that's great. Your Sejuani is getting caught in the meantime. The moment we see Sejuani getting caught, we follow the golden rule. Someone is running it down, so we dip the Ender and we get bot turret.
Did they go for bot turret?
That is fine as well. I think that's fine too. It's just the bot turret is the most important thing because that's the big objective. You get a mid wave, you almost get mid turret as well.
And then I die because I overstay.
You overstay, you die. That is true. Yeah. Obviously, the optimal play would be that once you get the wave, you just clear Wolves and Grump, because then you get more farm and you deny it from the enemy jungler, which at the end of the day should be one of the big goals. Like, how do you get a big lead on the enemy jungler? That's what we need to think about. Alright.
So I think the main thing I've learned so far is just I don't do enough selfish. I'm not selfish enough a lot of the time. I'm too willing to like go and look for a gank and like try and help out a teammate, and rather I should just be thinking about what my next camp is, where my next camp is, where my next infusion of gold is coming from.
I think to be a good jungler and solo queue, you have to always think about how you can carry the game. Like, you cannot trust anyone to carry, and it sounds a bit weird saying that, but that's just the truth. So it can be tricky because it feels natural to go and help everyone as much as possible. We can be worried that if we don't give them enough attention, they're gonna flame us. Fortunately enough, if anyone starts whining, we can mute their pings. Ideally, before the game has started, we've disabled chat already, just for our own sanity. But just completely ignore what any of your teammates think. Their opinions don't matter.
Okay.
All that matters is what you think is right in the game and how you can get strong enough to solo carry. Obviously, there's a middle ground, because looking for ganks, looking
middle ground.
looking for ganks, looking for counter ganks is a positive thing, but it's always about finding a balance. So you get the third Drake, starting to have a lot of control. You're getting very fat on your graves as well. You're sitting on 1800 gold, so we should be basing soon. We get a pick on Trundle. We kill Victor. This seems pretty good to me. I mean, opponents are getting caught out and you just take everything.
It definitely helps when your teammates make catches, but
yeah,
I just like,
sure. Definitely. Like here, you could end the game, but you're a smart player. You and your team are very, very smart. You know that if you don't die here, you're gonna win the game, because when you take 3 inhibs around the same time like you do right now, unless the opponents have the greatest wave clear at all time, like Sever and whatever, like they're not going to be able to defend. So I think what you're doing here is really smart. Just backing off, taking Baron, and then once you come on the base, as long as nothing crazy happens, you can just walk in and end the game. I think you greeded a little bit. I think it's fine to take these camps if you do it with a purpose, but coordinating resets is really underrated in solo queue, because right now, because you do blue and Grump, you're gonna be slow. So we're gonna see your team grouping, they're all 4 running mid, and you're so far behind, but you could be with them right now pressuring.
True.
Like, it's not a certainty that something goes wrong, but there's always a chance. I also have no idea like what Syndra is doing. Like here, just stay grouped, play as a ball, because then nothing can go wrong. And again, you're walking on the base with 1300 gold, so you didn't really get anything from blue and Grump anyways. Might as well just be coordinated with the team.
I get that.
And yeah, you can see the final
Slow
point.
walk into victory, yeah.
There it is. That was the first game.
Get the kill on the fountain, which is the important part, right?
Of course. You ruined your KDA, adding another death.
Oh, true. I didn't even think about
the
that.
Baus would be proud though. No, actually he wouldn't. You only died 4 times. The Baus would not be proud. Learning lessons. What have we learned this game? Let me
prioritize camps. Dip the inter. Herald greater than Drake. How do I carry? Those are the 4 key sentences I've taken away.
You said Herald greater than Drake.
I mean, I think you agreed with me. You know, I'm just putting words in your mouth.
I think both Herald and Drake are important for different reasons. I would agree that if we compare first Drake to first Herald, I think first Herald is more important. Okay. But stacking Drakes obviously is nice because it always gives you like a win con and it's just free stats. It's pretty hard to get the first Drake nowadays because it's super difficult to solo it as a jungler.
Yeah.
But if like you have like a winning bot lane with bot push, you can usually get it before Herald even spawns anyways. And then like if we compare first Drake to first Herald, I like first Herald more because it can give you a big gold lead that will then give you all the next Drakes anyways. But yeah, I think that mostly sums it up. So optimize runes. So if you go Umbral Glaive, you take some people treasure on the second. And then yeah, everything you mentioned. Also gotta practice farming the jungle with Graves to handle the AoE a little bit better, and then just be greedy. I mean, look at this game. You were up 90 CS, well, 88 to be precise, and that is while skipping a lot of camps. Imagine how far you could have been ahead. You could have been 150, 200 CS up on this poor trundle.
True.
But you were nice. You let him have just a little bit of his confidence left, so I can
you got to give him
that.
a little bit of hope, right? Like otherwise, it's a bit unfair on the enemy team.
Exactly.
So